Welcome to another week of our journey through the Bible. We're heading into the book of Exodus now, here in week 2. And of course, one of the most famous, biggest moments that so many of us probably remember well from Exodus early on is the burning bush. That God speaks to Moses out of this bush that was burning but wasn't burning up. And this cool thing happens when God speaks to Moses from the burning bush. First thing he tells him, Moses comes over and sees what's going on, and God says, "Hey, take off your sandals because the place where you're standing is holy ground. Because you're meeting with God here. This is not something ordinary. This is something special and amazing, and you need to treat it that way." And later on, God's going to give Moses and the Israelites a whole lot of instructions for how to build the tabernacle and build these things and put these things together so that they can meet with Him and worship Him. And the thing that struck me about both those things, this moment of taking off his sandals because he's on holy ground, and all this preparation, all these details that God gives about, here's what you need to do so that I can meet with you, so that we can be together. It struck me that it's a special and amazing thing to be in the presence of God. It's not something that's just be taken lightly and just kind of glossed over and taken for granted, that it is amazing and incredible and special that we get to spend time with God. Now look, I'm very glad that we don't have all the same rules that the tabernacle had, that we don't have to offer up the sacrifices in the same way and do all those things. There's one part, you'll get there this week if you haven't, where they're rubbing blood on their earlobe and their big toe. And I'm really glad I don't have to do that stuff as the leader of the church, especially. And, we're all thankful I don't have to wear some of this outfit that Aaron has to put on. He wears this garment that has little pom-pom sounding things on the bottom of it interspersed with bells. Okay. I mean, hey, if the church wants me to wear something that jingles on Sunday morning, just send the word. We'll try to make it happen. But I'm glad we don't have to jump through some of those hoops and do some of that stuff in order to be with God. I'm so thankful that Jesus has come and finished that and completed that. And so we just get to have a relationship with Him, and that gives us access to the Father as well. But sometimes we take all that for granted. Sometimes we overlook how special it is that we get to have that relationship, that we get to be in the presence of God, that we get to talk with Him and pray to Him and worship Him. And so I think a lot of times we just forget to have the awe and the respect and the wonder that we should at being in the presence of God. Job and his friends kind of have that type of experience where, Job's gone through all this stuff and his friends show up and they're starting to just ask him, and they're really starting to question God after a while. And they're starting to say a lot of stuff, and God puts up with it for a while and He lets it go. But eventually there comes a point where God answers them. And I love this. He comes to them and says, "Who is it that darkens my counsel with words without knowledge?" In other words, did you forget who you were talking to? Do you forget who I am? You guys know nothing compared to me. You have words, but you have no knowledge. And you're trying to come ask me and question me about things. And then God turns around and questions them. Except He asks them things He knows they're not going to have an answer to. And it's simply to remind them that I am God and you are not. And to be in my presence, to talk to me, is an awesome, incredible thing. And look, God is powerful, and God can be really scary. As C.S. Lewis puts it, He's not a tame lion, right? Like He is this powerful thing, but God doesn't want us to just live in fear of Him all the time. Yes, we should know that He has that power, and we should remember that. There is an aspect of that when we're told to fear the Lord. But there's also a whole lot of awe and wonder and respect that, He doesn't want us to be so afraid of Him that we can't come to Him. He wants us to come to Him. We should be able to come and meet with God. We just need to remember how amazing that is and not take it for granted. I've walked through the gates of Disneyland at least 20 times in my life, right? It's happened multiple occasions, multiple trips, and multiple days on most of those. And yet, when the day comes where I get to go do it again, hopefully someday people are allowed to go places like Disneyland again before too long. It's still gonna be awesome. I'm gonna walk through those gates and pause for a moment. And this is probably one of the very few times in my life where I stop and look at flowers. But they're in the shape of Mickey's head, right? When you walk in the gate, there it is, and it's one of the most photographed spots. And I love that spot. You walk in and it's like, wow, I'm really here. And you walk through this little walkway, and there you are on Main Street in Disneyland. And even though I've done it at least 20 times in my life, it's going to make me stop. It's going to make me smile. It's going to make me feel like a little kid. And I'm just going to have this sense of wonder at that. Wow, I'm here. How much more should that be true every time we get to worship God? Every time that we get to pray to him and meet with him and be around his people and his family, there should be such an awe, such a wonder about that. And so often we just take it for granted. Go, oh, it's just another Sunday. It's just another this. And we miss out on how incredible it is that we get to have that relationship with God. We have to remember to take our sandals off. We need to remember that when we meet with God, it's something special. It's something amazing. It's holy ground. Love you guys. See you soon.